Welcome back to another Snap review where I give my snapshot thoughts on some of the latest films that don't really need a full video. This week is the release of Fantastic Four: First Steps, a film I went into with tentative hopes and surprisingly, I thought it was pretty fan. I really liked this film. And listen, whether you think superhero fatigue is a media buzz term or it's something you actually feel, this film feels like a cure to something. It feels like a marriage of Interstellar and The Incredibles, but most importantly, it's a film that feels like it can stand on its own and offer a unique experience within the Marvel universe. And it's also pretty content with saying its own title a lot, even in its score. So we start a few years into the Fantastic Four's reign. Well, reign doesn't feel like the right word. Let's say appreciation. But there is really quite a well done catch-up sequence to get you up to speed in the opening as to what's been happening. And let me just say right here, you don't have to have seen any of the other Fantastic Four films, or in fact, any of the other Marvel films, which is pretty wild considering this is the 37th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the first film in Phase 6, which is the concluding phase of the multiverse saga. But thankfully, all of that is irrelevant. Everything you need to know is right here. And although I had issues with Superman skipping the origin a couple of weeks ago, the way it's done in this film actually works quite well. Our four characters are living the high life, quite literally, as Earth's protectors. When suddenly the Silver Surfer appears marking Earth 828, yes, this is an alternative Earth for destruction by order of Galactus. And the adventure begins. I think a lot of people, myself included, wanted a more grounded Superman film, and this for me got a lot of things right that Superman didn't. I won't go into spoilers for either, but I actually liked a lot of the CGI heavy sequences in this film, as opposed to Superman. There are a couple of really awesome sequences, especially whilst the crew are in space. I think the team has some good chemistry, not great chemistry I will say, but I think that comes down to the dialogue. It can feel a little wooden at times, even though everybody plays their parts quite well. The casting is pretty great. Pedro Pascal, who you may know from every other film at the moment, is playing Reed Richards with a very delicate touch. Maybe a bit too delicate for me at times, but he definitely was a standout in the film. Vanessa Kirby is also pretty great as Susan Storm and has the best chemistry of the four with Pedro Pascal. Joseph Quinn and Eben Moss-Backrack are great casting, but they aren't given that much to do as Johnny and Ben. And Ben specifically feels much more underdeveloped compared to the 2005 film. And that leads me on to my major issue with the film is that it feels a bit rushed. I actually think this film needed another 20 minutes. The third act felt a little quick and a little awkward with its editing. It does fall into the trap of trying to do too much. However, I do think everything they are doing is good. So despite some of the mess with its plot lines, I was still really enjoying everything it was throwing at me. I guess I just wanted more of it. The Silver Surfer scenes especially are a highlight. The Galactus sequences are as big and bold as you want them to be, expanding to 1.43 if you see this in a full IMAX cinema. It felt so good to have a threat that felt impending, imposing, but still intergalactic, and not just a reflection of a character's origin story like so many other superhero films. And I really connected with this film's themes of family and coming togetherness. It's still a Marvel film, but one that feels light-hearted, but still has a heart. And there was a warmth to this film that was pretty contagious for me. But my favorite part is the look. The production design and aesthetic of this film is it looks so great. Its retro future quirks and comic book edges are just a joy to behold. It's a Marvel film that not just feels distinct, it's got style, and I really appreciated that. There is plenty of contours and color to its sets, and it all stands out in a way that makes the world feel alive, with a wonder and a swagger that I wasn't expecting. And there's also some great music, some of the best stuff I've heard in a superhero film in a long time from the great composer Michael Giacchino. Ultimately, it's a film that's got flair, it's got style, and it's got future nostalgia. And I really just had a lot of fun. The most fun I've had with a superhero film this year. And although I do think this film is a very solid 7 out of 10, my enthusiasm and the sheer amount of fun I had watching this in IMAX kind of just tipped it over into an 8 out of 10 for me. This is another matter of head versus heart, and my heart usually wins. It ended up being pretty fantastic. So this is a pretty solid recommendation from me. Definitely check this one out. Consider subscribing as well. If you want to check out my much longer and more conflicted Superman review, I'd be very grateful. I guess my reviews are starting to echo the films themselves because this was very much short and sweet. And with that, all that's left to do is to thank you very much for watching.